I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came. Spend it before you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game. Hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip attack games. In my own league, I don't chase game. In my own league, I don't hang with lanes. I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Now how could that be? Talking about who can be talking about me. Feeling like Stretch where I got all this reach. Feeling too blessed when I step on these beats. Now how could that be? I could beat the pressure, I could beat the 2-3. Jab, jab, hook, then I duck and I weave. It was never you, it was me versus me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do.
Good evening, YouTube. How's everybody's good night? Welcome. We are here, Anger Management Podcast. Anthony, Mike, how are we doing Saturday evening?
Well, I don't think anybody can ever complain about a weekend, bud. I mean, if you get a chance to get away from school, get away from a job for a day or two, I mean, it doesn't get much better with that, especially when you got the nice weather and stuff. At least hopefully it's nice here. Hopefully it's nice where you're at, sir.
Oh, actually, today was the hottest day of the week. It was almost like 84, 85 today. So it finally felt some heat today, but I'm feeling it in my body today because last night I had softball. And so, I'm hurting. I'm hurting today. I actually got a triple. I got a triple last night. I actually could have hit.
No kidding.
I could have hit for the cycle if I'd have got a home run. I was 3 for 4 on the night.
No kidding.
Yeah, I could have. But I'm telling you, I will never run for a triple again because I'm feeling it.
I'll tell you what. At least you've got a war story. I did some yard work today, folks. You know, the old pulling the weeds and that type of thing. And man, I'll tell you what. The body lets me, it's funny, the mind can tell you one thing, but the body will tell you exactly what's going on. And I kind of suck right now.
Hey, I mean, I understand. Trust me. Like I said, for me, it's funny because I actually had one of the guys come up to me and he was asking me, like how old I am, and because he was like, man, this late game, because we had like an 8:30 start, and he's like, these late games, I'm trying to get to bed and stuff. I was like, I feel you, like I'm ready to go to bed. And he's like, well, you can't be feeling that, right? He's like, what, you're like 22, 23 years old? I was like, I wish. I was like, I appreciate that, but I'm 35. I told him I was 35. He said, what? No way. I was like, yeah, I'm 35, man. I got 2 kids at home that I should be asleep just like they are right now. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
It is, and you know what? This is what we're gonna get into today, guys. Because I'm gonna talk a little bit about softball because it's gonna lead into what our days or nights going to consist of, guys. We're talking about old school and new school. One thing I want to talk about is, Mike, you remember the game of softball, slow pitch, right? I mean, you've seen it play. You know what it's like, right? And slow pitch softball is basically guys get together, create a team, and you just go out and play pretty tough competition, right? I mean, and the game's played just like almost any other game, where you hit the ball, you field it, you throw around the first, you run home, you run, you got pitches that, hey, sometimes they may, umpire might say strike, might be a ball, it's controversial, right? This is what is pissing me off. And this is what we're talking about, guys. Old school versus new school. And I want to get away, we're going to get away from sports when we get deeper in this. I am bringing up softball only because it's relevant to what we're kind of talking about, what happened to me last night. But the game of softball has changed so much because, for me, now they have what they call mat ball. So they put like this, I don't know, it's probably maybe like a 3-foot mat, behind home plate. So it's curved in with the plate. And as long as the pitcher has the height on it or whatever, if the ball hits the plate or the mat at any point, as long as it crosses, it's a strike. Doesn't matter. As long as it hits, and it can hit even home plate now, which is even crazier when you think about it. Then they also made up a rule this year. This is a brand new rule. No touching home plate when you're running home at any time. There's a line off to the side that you run out and you cross the line. That's how you make a play. So if there's a play at home, all the catcher has to do is stand on home plate like it's first baseman and just catch it. If he catches it before he crosses the line, they're out. I understand safety, right? I understand making it safe for people. But what are we doing to these games?
It's to prevent a collision?
Pretty much. That's what the safety part of it is yes, to create so that there isn't any collision, so there isn't any problems. But they're taking away from the game that I love to play all the time. And don't get me wrong, I still love doing it, but there are so many more rules out there. And this mat ball thing really screws me up. And to me, I feel bad for the tournament players that go out and play league and have to do this, because as a tournament player, you're already known where you're at in the batter's box. You already know when a ball's coming in, if it looks like it's off the plate, if it's off the plate. You already know. In mat ball, it throws off your swing, because if you're a player that's back in the box, right, but that home plate is a strike if it hits it, you're going to be down, you're going to be swinging, you're going to be reaching for it, because they're going to try to hit that plate and you're not going to be ready for it. So then you're trying to make adjustments as you're playing there. It's going to start screwing up your tournament swing come the weekend, because on the weekends during tournaments they don't do mat ball. It's still based off of the umpire's discretion at home plate. They have plays at the plate, all that stuff. So I feel bad for these tournament players, and if I'm a tournament player, I would say I'm probably going to stop with league, because this is really going to ruin what I build myself for each week. I mean, I might just need to hit more on the, go to the hitting cages, do something like that. But this is what I hate is, why is everybody, and it is sports related for us that we've talked about, but why are they changing all these sports to, I don't want to say make them worse, but it's just, because I don't want to say worse, because I get the safety part of it, right? We all want to be safe. I mean, well, for me, I'm saying safe like in a game like a slow pitch, because for me, I realize I got a family to go home to. I got, people got jobs to go to the next day. Nobody wants anybody to get severely injured. We're not getting paid to do this. We're paying to play. So that's why I say I understand the safety. Now, in professional sports, these guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, we don't understand that portion of it, right? To an extent, like, of course, nobody wants to get injured, and we don't want to. I mean, if it could be injury free, of course, we would love that. But injuries are a part of the game, even playing in a slow pitch league. But for me, I just don't understand the whole process of change. They changed everything on it. It's like, I get, like I said, whatever, the home plate thing. But like, is it just because the umpires are getting bad, so it just makes it easier for them to call the balls and strikes from back there? Is it that it causes less controversy? I don't know what it is, but that's part of the game.
Yeah, but I mean, when I was growing up, and you too, really, but when I was growing up and we went out and did anything, right? And granted, a lot of it was just, you get together and you go out there. And I understand, you're young, you don't have jobs and all this stuff. Maybe you do. Well, I did that too, even when I had a job. You go out there and you guys play, a little bit of football, or baseball or whatever it might be, but there's full contact. I mean, I've played flag football. I've done all these things. And so for me, and I always like the contact aspect of things. And I get where, like you're talking about, and we see these changes, we see these literal changes in Pro Bowls and All-Star games and things like that. And now the things they do at the home plate with Major League Baseball and things like this, and it's all about reducing injuries and these type of things. But for me, I've always thought, when I was playing, I liked the contact. I mean, that was just for me. That was part of. That's what I grew up knowing, and I can't always relate. And granted, I don't do this anymore, folks. I mean, like Anthony said, he's still doing softball and stuff like that. But I don't know why we've become we have like this soft mentality about sports in general. I mean, it sometimes it blows my mind, and it really does make it hard for me to relate to it.
It is.
I
It
can't
is. You're
imagine.
absolutely right. Because we just talked about this right before we got on. I kid you not, folks. I was just talking about Mike said contact, right? My daughter had a volleyball tournament this morning, and I noticed she wasn't going for the ball like she normally does when we're practicing with her here at home, at the park, wherever. And so we asked her, and she's like, "I'm afraid that if I hit the ball too hard, or if I fall and you hit my knees, that it's gonna hurt or something." Well, she has the pads, she has all that stuff for her. I said, if you're playing a sport and you are afraid to get hurt or anything, then you shouldn't even be playing the sport, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you're out there just completely afraid and you can't get over, then you shouldn't play it. And then that's just because you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else because you're going to be scared at a certain point in time. Because I'm not going to lie, I told her the same thing. When I first started playing baseball, the one thing that did scare me was I didn't want to get hit at the plate.
Yeah, I had that same problem.
Because here's the thing is, it's not like your coach, you're at practice and coach is just chucking them over. I am actually basically saying, okay, I'm trusting this person who plays for another team to not hit me with this ball. That's the trust I have to have in this pitcher, right? I have to have trust that you're good enough to throw the ball over the plate and not hit me, right? Eventually you get over it. Once you get 1, 2, 3 batters, bats in, you go 3 or 4 games and the ball's not even close to you. You never get hit. Of course, it's never going to happen. You're going to be at the plate and one's going to come sailing it, and but what's going to happen is at a young age is that you have the ability to move quickly, and it's just reaction. Boom, you're going to get out of the way and be like, oh, okay, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought. Or when you do finally get hit, you do realize, that hurts, but it goes away. Well, by the time you're at first and your adrenaline's going for the next play going on, you're not even going to remember it. Now, yeah, you're going to feel sore. You're going to feel it the next day. I mean, everything happens that way. But in the end, if you're just playing, if you're in the sport, but you're absolutely terrified of certain things, don't play the sport.
I got hit by pitches in Little League, much like any kid does. And at some point, it's almost like, I tell you what, if male or female, if you go through baseball, softball, your entire, early part of your life without getting hit by a ball, then wow, you got mine. I'm happy for you because you're beating the percentages. Because I got dinged quite a few. I got dinged quite a few times playing Little League baseball.
I remember we had a kid, real quick. We had a kid that played. I don't know if you remember. This kid played for Mount Air. His name was Gus. Remember that kid got hit like every game?
Oh,
There was one to put a target on his helmet at one point in time because he got hit all the time. Do you remember that? That was crazy.
But like Anthony's talking about, folks, I relayed a story to Anthony about when I was a kid, and I was just out in the field playing with my buddies and stuff. And I was playing running back. I had a shot to go up the middle, nothing there in front of me but daylight. I hit the line. This kid stepped out of nowhere. He clocked me right in the gut, took me down. All the air went out of me. I literally thought I was going to die. So anybody who's ever played sports and you get the air knocked out of you, it's pretty crazy. I mean, you cannot take air in. It takes a second or two for your lungs to start, reacclimating to what you got to do and stuff and getting air in there. But I thought I was going to die. But I got off the field, and came back a few minutes later, ready to go, because that's what you do. I mean, I don't know. This is why I can't relate to how things are being done now. It doesn't make sense to me. I grew up watching sports where everybody played regardless. You broke legs, you played. You twisted knees, you played. These type of things. And I'm not saying that you're supposed to. I'm just saying that that's what you did. That was your mentality. We're a soft sports mentality. I think we're a soft society, really. But sports-wise, we're really a soft society. We use any and every excuse possible not to go out and play again. And to hear, like Anthony's talking about, where it's a recreational league that Anthony's playing in.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but good grief. I mean,
well, and there's difference, right? If we're playing with kids too, or you got women, it's okay, fine, but these are all grown men playing out here. And yes, there has been a time where, softball gets to be a lot more competitive. There's fights, but what sport doesn't involve some sort of fight? You can go watch Little League, and the parents get into fights with umpires and other teams and stuff like that. So it's going to happen regardless. It's just competitiveness and all this crazy stuff. But these are grown men. Nobody's out there to intentionally hurt someone. And if you are, then screw you in a recreational softball league. If you're out there to really hurt somebody, on purpose. But everybody talks trash. I mean, the worst part about it is just when I think it's those late games where the drinking's involved beforehand. So by the time game time comes, they're getting a little drunk. And I think that's what happened with this pitcher last night. I kid you not. Pitcher for the other team, he like walked in mad to the game. I don't know what he was mad about, but he was just talking crap to us the whole entire game. And I was like, what is this guy's problem? Like, nobody said one thing to him on our team or anything, and he just kept running his mouth. But I don't know. I hope we can somehow, change this thing. But the worst part is I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to get back to anything better.
So what happens? So I mean, at some point, what do we do? Do we? I've seen I've seen charity boxing matches, and you probably have too, but where they use these inflated size boxing gloves, right? I mean, we're talking gigantic boxing gloves that are so big that the people literally, you really can't do any damage because they're so big and it's sort of, clumsy and all that stuff. Is that what we're gonna do? I mean, because of all the sports that are still out there, MMA and I look at everything else, but it seems like the only sports that aren't really affected right now are things like boxing and MMA, where these are full contact, take your head off. So at what point do these become
out? To do in those leagues, right? just to make it safer. Don't punch above the shoulders and below the waist, but also be careful with the rib side and right directly in the stomach. So just punch each other in the arm.
And after 10 rounds, you can't swing. You can only jab. I mean, is that what we're gonna do? I mean, so what's even the point?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but the answer that they've given us, or the answer that we're dealing with, is not the correct one. I will say that.
No, again, we're just a soft society, and I don't understand that. Kids should be able to go out there and experience a real adrenaline rush, and sometimes that's the contact part of it. I mean, it is. I mean, I played defense, even in pickup games, and I'm talking about where you tackle people. I had a shot on a buddy. I'm taking it. I want to get that ball knocked loose, and so I would hit this kid. Not a dirty shot, clean shot, but that's what you do. You're there to get that ball back, and so if I got to knock his head off, that's what I did. And I expected the same in return. If I'm going to be running down the field or whatever, I expect one of these guys to take my head off. But that was part of the thrill for me, was to get out there and do that kind of thing. And I don't even think the kids now are even going to understand what this is all about, because we don't allow them to do anything anymore. Good grief.
I agree. I'm with you on that. I don't know when. I don't know when. If we'll ever see that again, or maybe the good times are gone. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, guys. Is old school, new school stuff, but we're going to get away from sports. I get it. NBA's coming to a close. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about there. MLB's kind of getting locked and loaded to start off the season. We did just have national championship. Shout out to the Florida Gators for winning that this year. But in the end, guys, we're gonna take a step back. We're gonna kind of let baseball get a little bit deeper in. We're gonna get into this playoff run here a little bit more. We're gonna talk and we're gonna talk at length next week about this Coach Malone firing from the Denver Nuggets and stuff. But we're gonna bring you a full cast with this later on. But today, guys, we're just gonna kind of get into some other things. We're gonna talk about music. We're gonna talk about TV shows. Maybe we're gonna talk whatever we decide. We're just gonna go with it tonight. But first, let's talk about some stuff. Mike, let's get into some music, okay? I want to get into this about, and let's start off with the genre of rap, okay? And for me, old school versus new school rap is like night and day, right? I mean, oh my God. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to put it without putting it in a terrible way, but there is nothing what the old schoolers of Dre's, Dog, Cube, Tupac, those guys can do compared to these guys nowadays. You know what I mean? These guys that have nothing but the little Yachty, 6ix9ine, whatever they may be. It's just totally different from what it used to be. And by totally different, the music, the beats, what is said, also the attire, right? The way that they dressed, the way that they acted, it is totally different from now compared to then, right?
Yeah, I mean, you had R&B when I was like a teenager and stuff like that, but rap was just sort of coming into play. I remember, NWA was like, and at that time, that was like it, folks. I mean, this was hardcore. You can't be listening to this stuff, even as an adult. If you're driving down the road and you got that playing, you were like, wow, you guys that's kind of pushing it. And I get it, there's a lot of foul language, but that was a little extreme. But like Anthony's talking about, the R&B and the early rap, yeah, and even the way some of the guys and the ladies dressed, it was there was a lot of style attached to it. The lyrics weren't always controversial. It was just a whole different era. And I don't know what's happened if you compare to where we're at now. What's that one girl's name, bud? She's a rapper, Red?
Yes.
Sexy Red.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Well, so here's a question you might. How often would you say right now on a daily basis do you listen to rap nowadays?
Well, I don't.
You don't listen to any of it. Not even old. Any old stuff still though nowadays, or not really either.
If I go into my music list, there's some there.
Okay.
But it just plays typically through the list. It's not when I'll go select.
No, and that's fine. Trust me, because guys, let me be the first to tell you. Like I am. You can ask anybody that knows me. I am all over when it comes to me. I'm huge on music. I'm big on. I go through every genre possible, right? But for me, the two that we're going to talk about today, which is rap and country, there's a big difference between the two, and we'll get into country and we'll explain why. But Mike's correct here, where it's just compared to now. Look at this. Mike knew about all these other guys, right? Before he grew up listening to them. He did listen to them at the time. Now I ask him, who do you listen to now? He doesn't listen to a thing. That should explain to you right then and there what's the difference between old school and new school, right there. He doesn't even, if you were once a fan of rap, right, before, you would still think as you get going, you'd still enjoy some of it. There's still some rap. I mean, because there's still some old school rappers nowadays that still go. Lil Wayne I would consider as an old school rapper that's still going now, of course. He's still going to be doing his stuff, right? But there's still some rappers that are still good. Because the reason I wanted to ask is I want to know if there was anybody that you would throw out that you listen to now. But like a Post Malone. I don't know if you know who Post Malone is, Mike.
I know. Yeah,
Post Malone is so good. And this guy's also turning into he's done country. He's doing all kinds of different stuff. That is one guy that in this era I can sit here and look at and say he's still keeping it going. And doing it the right way, doing it, this way. But this list is very short compared to what we used to see. The list is getting shorter and shorter and shorter on the guys that can still do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, when I first was introduced to it, folks, way back in the mid '80s, I guess, something like that. And actually, I even got into the whole hip hop thing and stuff like that. I dressed like that. Anthony doesn't. He didn't see it because he was little, but his dad could tell you that I even had a little bit of the hip hop attire. None of the baggy stuff, anything like that. But I enjoyed that look. I enjoyed that music, because it just had a beat to it. It had a different sound to it. I couldn't help but get I loved to dance to it. That was the thing. The hip hop back in the day and the rap back in the day would allow you to dance to it sometimes, folks, if you went to the clubs and things like that. Not all the time, but a lot of it still would allow you to do something with it. And what I hear now, and I do, you get on YouTube or if you're watching the Grammys or you're watching the AMAs or whatever, so you'll kind of get an idea of some of the rap that's out there now. If you watch the entire 18-hour show, you'll see kind of what's out there. And for the life of me, I mean, I see some of the things that they do now with rap, and I really don't agree with it. I really think it goes beyond the limits of acceptability. I can't even imagine really that you could allow your kids necessarily to see this if you really
Yeah, it's
are concerned about
and no
what
lie,
we're
I
seeing.
agree with you on that because some of this stuff is a little like a lot of these guys that were back here in the day. They talked about their lives, what they went through, how they came up from certain things, right? The other thing with some of these guys, when you look, some of these guys were actual true gangsters, right? Like I mean, like they were scary, like. And some of these guys nowadays, they're walking around with these different color hairs, styles, and all they're talking about is just money, drugs, and girls. That's it. Now, don't get me wrong, they did talk about it back then, but there was certain songs, or there was a meaning for it. Now it's just to just get an album out, and some of them, it's like I don't even know what happened because they got that new thing called, and it's not that new, but the mumble rap, right? Why do I want to listen to somebody mumble? What makes you? That doesn't make you a good artist to mumble. That I mean, you can go get a newborn and they can mumble and put out a record. Is that what you're telling me, or what?
Yeah, but see, this is my other thing, and people take exception to this statement, but unfortunately, that's just where. And I'll touch on this with country music too. It's not related just to rap, folks. So if I look at what constitutes rap music now. That's not, I'm sorry, I don't care what the award show is. When you're rapping, especially in today's era of rap, that isn't music. That is not music. You're literally putting out words. And I understand that's you expressing yourself, but it's not technically, really, it's not what, you can't classify that as pure music per se. If you look back, what we're talking about, like Anthony says, with the old school type stuff, there was a real beat to it. There was music to it. There was a rhythm to it. There were lyrics that actually mattered. You could hear everything the person said, whether they were a female artist or a male artist. Like Bud's talking about, with mumble rap. I don't know what this is, but I do understand what he's saying. By where you mumble, where you can't. Well, what's the point of even having it then? I mean, good grief. I mean, I sometimes had trouble making out all the words, some of the rap I grew up on, and had to go back and listen to it a few times. But it was
true, because you had some other ones that, I mean, there's tons of, and that's the thing, is there's so many good rappers going, and there was a time period there, in the probably like late 90s to like almost, mid 2000s, where there was so many great rappers and stuff like that it was hard for these guys to go number one. That was like Nelly and Luda and 50 Cent was in the DMX. Like, all these guys were all trying to get to that number one spot, and it's like, you guys are just all great. And now it's like, I can't even tell you, there, like I said, there's stuff. Post Malone, I don't mind. Kevin Gates, I think, is really good. Kendrick Lamar is another one. And J. Cole, like, those guys are still doing well, but that list isn't what it used to. I could just name off five, but there's a list you guys can see in the background. There's a handful of rappers right here that were good. Run DMC is another one that people don't consider as rap, but they were. Just because they were in a different era, they could do it, and they made everybody. And here's the thing: a lot of these, yes, there are people still stuck on these rap, but you can go to a club and a bar, and you're gonna play all these songs from any of these guys that are behind us right now, and everybody's still gonna have fun, and they're gonna party their whole entire night away to listening to Snoop, to Cube, to LL Cool J, Run DMC, Ludacris, whoever it may be, right? They're still good. These guys' songs that were played back in the 90s, the 80s, are still being played today. I have songs that some of these guys listen to that my kids enjoy listening to this day right now.
So here's my other problem, and again, my biggest thing, folks, and I'm not to sit here and tell you now, is for the most part, and Anthony will tell you. Now, I as a person, I really don't. Have I used foul language? Of course I have. I'm a human being, but by choice, I try to monitor what I do. I never cuss around kids, and even if I send Anthony something, a video, it's got explicit language.
He said, don't do this around the kids, guys. Don't leave it around. Yeah, and what's funny is the next thing I know is I'm playing and the kids are probably right next to me. I don't know. Probably.
But my point is, I can be, and I know Anthony can tell you this too. You can have a vehicle driving down the street, literally not even next to you, and I'm literally telling you that the lyrics you're hearing are words that not even an adult should really be hearing by choice. I mean, we're not asked to hear these. But what if there's kids there and stuff like that? And I grant it's on the individual to say, hey, I can't have it that loud. I understand that. But you're the ones who put it in there. You put those lyrics in that song. They didn't have to do that back in the day. They got their point, their message across without doing all that stuff. I'm not saying it wasn't out there. It was.
I
But
mean, it was one of those
wasn't
where
every other song.
the songs now, it's like every other word.
It
is a curse
is.
word. Most of those songs that, if it was used excessively, it was because there was a point being made. Like a Tupac song. Yes, he was cussing bad, but he was making a point about something. There was a reason behind it. Some of these other ones, yes, there's cursing in it, but it was like you'd get 3 or 4 throughout the song. Not every other word is this and that, and boom, boom, boom. And then not to mention, you know, even going to like as far as like the music videos. I used to love. I'm a music video fan. I used to love watching music videos.
Yeah,
I
me
did it
too.
all the time. The music videos back then were so much better than they are now. Now it's just a bunch of, you know, booty shaking and popping bottles and drinking on this and this and that. And it's like, back then, you know, what is it? Ain't Nothing But a G Thing. Go watch that one. They're just driving to a barbecue in that one. Good Day by Ice Cube. He's driving around in his car talking about the day he's had. He's not, I mean, you know what I mean? It's simple things that get their point across to about what they go through, things that they've seen, their life that they've lived, things like that. You know what I mean? And yes, some of them do get a little crazy, but not to the extent that they are now. Nowadays it's crazy.
Yeah, you know, and you just don't have anybody that it's all acceptable now, and nobody there's no you can put whatever warning you want on the CD or whatever they do with that now as far as distribution goes and stuff like that, but it's almost like it doesn't even matter anymore. I mean, everybody's indifferent to it, you know, and I get it. You know, little kids grow up around it and stuff like that, so they really don't know the difference. But again, it's like Anthony and I talk about. See, there's a beauty, regardless of whether it's sports or not. There's a beauty, there's a purity to what Anthony grew up with and what I grew up with, that it was a whole different way of life. I mean, you could have these groups and these teams and stuff like that, and everything was about either being competitive or just putting out good music, regardless of what your musical tastes were. And it wasn't about just being as absolutely graphic as humanly possible, you know, especially with music. And it's like Anthony's talked about before, you know, sometimes it's hard for us to watch sports because we're so disillusioned. Anthony and I, and others, but since this is me and Anthony talking to you folks, Anthony and I get disillusioned by music because it's like become ridiculous. It's not even music half the time anymore. And so it gets discouraging. And unfortunately, like Anthony mentioned just a few minutes ago, is it going to improve?
I don't know. I don't know if it
really
will.
not.
Because here's my thing is, music to me is now turning into what sports are. I could listen to music all day, everything. When a new song came out, a new artist came in, I was on it. I was grabbing new music of everything. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just rap, it wasn't country. I can do old school. I could do, you know, your whatever, R&B. I could do rock. I could do heavy metal. I mean, whatever it may be, we can go. The only thing I'm not great at is like techno or any of that kind of stuff like that. I don't listen to much of that stuff. But I can listen to whatever. And now it's to a point where, you know, the artists are a little different. The way that, like Mike said, the beats are off. You know, almost everybody's now trying to like steal from past songs, just like, or past beats and stuff to kind of make their music work, which is fine because some of them have worked up. Like I have worked out well. Like, I don't know if you heard that Squabble Up song by Kendrick Lamar, but he's got that old school beat of When I Hear Music in it in the background. I thought he did great with it. I thought it was a good song for him. So it works out at times, right? But it doesn't always work out for these guys. But so like for me, we're gonna talk about country also, where for me, and maybe Mike doesn't feel the same way, guys, but country music to me, it doesn't change. Like I mean, it changes to the point where yes, I can tell the difference between the 90s and stuff compared to now, but the songs still mean the same. They put a lot of thought into what they're doing. There's a lot more to enjoy than just that little bit that you get from the nowadays. I mean, I can go through tons of country artists and I could probably grab like, just to name like a Brad Paisley, right? And I can listen to him all day long. I can literally put on a list of Brad Paisley all day and be fine with it. I can put on George Strait and listen to him all day long and be fine with it. And I could do that with tons of country art. I can't do that with certain rap, right? The rappers I can't. Maybe I can deal with it for half a day or so. But country to me is probably my favorite genre of all.
You know, see, my only thing with country music, and this is me, folks. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying for me. Now I'm not. Now I grew up, you know, where everything was rhinestones. It didn't matter if you were male or female. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be wearing rhinestones. I mean, we're past all that. My biggest problem now, and I'm all about expression. I am. But for me, sometimes when I watch a country video, I really see guys. And sometimes to women, but I see guys you wouldn't even know unless you heard the lyrics. You wouldn't even know that they're a country artist. You would have no clue. You would have no clue that that's what their career is built around. And I'm not saying you got to come out in a 10-gallon hat, cowboy boots, and a vest. I'm saying, but good grief. I mean, you come out looking like you just got off work at the gas station. And I'm like, can you not at least, you know, like show me something that relates to the music, so to speak. Like I said,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
the whole rhinestone thing is dated, and that's not what I'm saying. But good grief, like Anthony said, when George Strait comes out, I know George Strait is a country musician.
Yeah,
I get it. You know, I mean, and granted, that's going old school. I understand that. But I mean, Dwight Yoakam, when he would come out, I mean, I knew this dude was country, and there's guys that do it now, you know, but a lot don't.
And see, me that doesn't for me that doesn't bother me as much because I get the whole thing, but that doesn't bother me as much because here's my thing: if you can put out great music like the country way it is, because like I said, I can listen to country old school, I can listen to it now because I'm a big Luke Combs fan right now. I like Morgan Wallen. I mean, Morgan Wallen's killing it with all this stuff. Morgan Wallen is kind of like that right now, like the Post Malone thing where I said he can do everything with everyone. And the other one that, I mean, the top of the list for us, if we're talking about new school right now, especially in this house, is Kane Brown. That Kane Brown guy, man, I tell you, I shout out to Kane Brown, how good he is. I watched, and we've listened to him since he started. I pay attention. He plays Warzone with Tim the Tap Man, one of these content creators at times. Like, he's cool to listen to and be on there. That guy just seems like he's probably one of the greatest human beings to just sit down and talk to and be around and stuff like that. Just seems so happy, so fun. But he's the top of the list that we listen to. On top of, I can throw on some George Strait, some Garth Brooks, Brad Paisley back. It does not matter. Tim McGraw is another guy that's top of the list for us for back then, you know, right? I love country music because it goes back to like what you said. It is getting a little different with some of the words and the stuff that they use. I feel like there's a little bit more of the, I don't know.
If you'd never heard of this dude and let's say you walked into a club and this guy walks on stage, or you saw an award show or something like that and never heard of this guy before you ever hear him do anything, right? And you see this guy, and this happened to me on an award show with this guy. But he was actually, on this particular song, I can't remember who the girl was, it was her song, but literally, he was like a gas station attendant in the stage presentation. But I didn't know who Jelly Roll was, right?
I love Jelly Roll.
So when I'm looking at this dude, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, he's doing like whatever he was doing in that particular song. But then I find out all this other stuff. But you look at Jelly Roll, the last thing you're ever going to think is that this dude does country music. Now, you tell me he did some stint in prison, that I can believe.
I'll tell you what, Mike, there's just something, I don't know if you've...
But he's a good singer. He's a good singer.
You've listened to his stuff now?
Oh, yeah.
We are huge Jelly Roll fans here, and I'm so sorry because I forgot about him. Trust me. If I remember, I would trust me. But this guy is on top. We love Jelly. Jelly Roll's great. I've heard his story too. I know his background story and all this and that. And he's just a tremendous person too.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Absolutely. So
He's a good dude.
you hit that right on the head. He doesn't look like somebody that does country music, but that's the thing, and it's just we're just going back to the times again, Mike. It's the same. But here's my thing: would you rather have? Well, here's the question: would you rather have a rapper to watch with all these colorful hairs and teeth all crazed out and wearing you don't know what, or do you want some guy that looks like Jelly Roll singing your song?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go. But and you made that point when you first started talking about, the attire with country musicians, even with the women, has changed, but there's not this decline in the music itself. I mean, there's still, a lot of creativity goes into country writing, male or female, and most of the artists that are out there now write a lot of their own songs, obviously, which you have to respect. And I'm not saying that the rappers now don't, but I'm sorry, there's a whole different dynamic there, and it's not what it was years ago with rap. Like Bud said, with country music now, they're still about the drinking and the boozing and the dog dying and the girl cheating or the guy, that type of thing. So there's those parts of country music are still there, but there's the good parts too. Just guy hanging out with his girl in the back of a pickup truck. Knocking down a couple of Budweisers, blah blah blah, that type of thing. But not to get political real quick, but here's one exception I took, and people watching this don't light me up over this. You can't there's the whole thing with crossing over. I do get it. We've seen like Jelly Roll does some crossovers and stuff like that. I understand that. That's fine. But here's the problem. So you're going to allow, and I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan. I'm not. I never have been. Even all the way back to her group days. She's a talented person, all this stuff. But when you have somebody that literally steps into the country area of music, never done this before, and suddenly, she's got album of the year and all this other stuff. I'm sorry, not going to fly with me.
Well, thank you, Mike, for leading into our next thing, because I wanted to give the female rappers and country artists their flowers on who's been good, who hasn't been good. And you're right, there are some that can do it, right? There are some female rappers, or some females that can go and do this. I'm not the huge fan of her. I know Taylor Swift has shown that she can do that, though, right? She can do a little bit of both. She's been very good at what she can do. But there are some, yes, that can. But also, in their own fields, they should get some recognitions, the ones that are good. The Carrie Underwood, right? The Reba McEntire's, the Dolly Partons. They paved, Dolly paved the way. Reba's paved the way for somebody like a Carrie Underwood, a Taylor Swift to be able to step foot in there. Not to mention that, but even the female rappers that should get theirs. Missy Elliott, the Queen Latifah. People probably don't even realize Queen Latifah, how much she rapped. Things like that. Little Kim, Trina. They all should get their flowers too, because a lot of people, when they just hear rap, they hear other things, they just always stick to the guys. These women also can do it. And it's because they always say that a woman can't do what a man can do in their field. That's completely wrong, especially when it comes to singing, because I'll tell you what, some of these women can really outdo these men in singing and stuff like that, and they've shown it, especially when it comes to country. Rap is really hard for women, but the ones I mentioned, the ones you guys will see behind me, they can outdo a lot of these men, and they have before.
Also you can literally say that, and this is true, and I'm going throughout music history, folks. You could literally say that Taylor Swift could possibly be the greatest songwriter in the history of music. I mean, you could, because her catalog of music is, we all know this. I mean, it's Taylor Swift. So Anthony and I could sit here and we could do an hour-long show about Taylor, and we would not be telling you one thing that you didn't already know if you're a Taylor Swift fan. But my point is that, like Anthony's talking about, and there's some talented male songwriters, blah blah blah. I get it. I'm saying that if you look at Taylor Swift's body of work, going back to her country days, and then when she transitioned out to where she's at now, just about every single song this girl performs or sings, however you want to put it, she is involved in it to some degree. She didn't fully outright write the entire song. she had something to do with that song coming together, whether it was the music or it was the lyrics or it was everything. Taylor Swift was involved in that song almost exclusively, or she shared some aspect of it. And again, like Carrie Underwood's another one, Dolly Parton we know about. You know,
How much rap did you listen to for females, though, Mike? Who did you listen to at all? Did you have any rap, like female rappers that you?
you know, back when I was listening to it, but they weren't always like you said. You had the Queen Latifahs. There was there was a girl group that nobody. I don't even know if you remember. There was a group called Oaktown 357.
Okay,
And,
I don't remember them. Because it was like Salt and Pepper were kind of
Salt and Pepper was
they
a
were
big
another
group.
one.
Salt and Pepper. Yeah, Salt and Pepper was a big group. Like I said, Oaktown 357. But at that point in time, there weren't a whole lot of like female rappers.
Yeah,
You know, when Latifah came out, I think, you know, I wouldn't say she was the. I don't think she was necessarily the one who kickstarted. I mean, literally, rap began. It's documented that, or at least everybody believes, it started with a Blondie song back in the late '70s. And it was the guy. It was the guy doing the rap on the song itself.
Okay.
So technically, Blondie could be credited with introducing rap music, but whatever.
Yeah, and see, that's
But
the
when I
thing
was
for me
listening to it, women weren't just quite that dominant yet.
exactly. And then I'd say, you brought up like a new art. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not a huge fan of the nowadays female
No.
rapper. I don't like what is it like the Cardi. I mean, I'm not saying that she's not good or they're not
Stallion,
good rappers
Sexy
or whatever.
Red,
I'm just
Cardi
saying that's
B.
not for me. That I know Cardi B is very good at what she does. Trust me. My wife likes Cardi B. That's fine. It's just not for me. I know she's good. Glorilla, you know, yes. Ice Spice, like you said.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Nicki Minaj, I'm a little on the fence about some stuff. I'm like, she's one of those where it depends on the song. She can get really bad with her music, where you know the cursing and some of the things she says. Yada, I could throw that out. But she has some really, really great songs when she first started that I could stick with. So I'm like back and forth with her depending on what I'm listening to. But yeah, Meg Thee Stallion, don't know. I'm still old school on this. I love my old school. But and same thing with country though. I don't care if you're an old school country talking to Dolly Parton or something like that. You could be Taylor Swift this year making something. I still enjoy listening to country music just as much. I'm really getting away from the rap though, unfortunately, for women. Like I could still listen all day to Missy Elliott. I could still listen to a Trina song. I could listen to Little Kid. I could listen to all those female rappers now, still to this day. But this stuff new, it's not happening for me right now. It's just not, unfortunately.
Well, like we talked about, male or female. I mean, with rap music, today's rap music, a lot of it. It's all about, you know, being as graphic as humanly possible.
Pretty much,
we're talking
unfortunately.
about as graphic as humanly possible. And I don't know if it's for shock value. I don't know if that's just is based on just how they speak in everyday life. So that's what they do. But like we're talking about, folks, you just didn't. This wasn't necessary. You know, even back when Anthony, like we're talking about, when Anthony was listening when he was a teenager, when I was listening when I was a teenager. The artists didn't have to. They didn't have to become. They just didn't have to go that route. It didn't have to be that graphic. And if they did, like Anthony said, there was a pinpoint purpose to it. But it wasn't the entire song. It wasn't every other word. You know, and you didn't necessarily, you know, have to worry about, you know, your kids listening to it per se, because, you know, they weren't gonna just go out and start cussing left and right. But today, man, I'll tell you what, and I don't listen to it, like Anthony's saying, much either, because that's a big part of it.
My rap intake has really gone down a lot. But my whole music intake has been. I kind of still stick to what I know nowadays. It kind of sucks, but I mean, you know, and maybe I just haven't put myself out there enough to listen to a lot of it, but I mean, I'm sure I will.
It is. You made that point earlier, and this is actually spot on, that you kind of just, and not everybody, but you really do, you kind of transition away from, like you said, and I was the same way. You know, the new stuff came out, or you listen to the radio, you got to go out and buy it, you know, that type of thing. But you reach a point where, and again, not everybody, but like Anthony's talking about with him, me being the same way, you just kind of, I don't know, you drift away from the new thing, so to speak,
Yeah.
and you fall back on what you grew up with. And every once in a while, like a Post Malone or a Jelly Roll, that type of thing comes along, and yeah, you pick up on some of the stuff they do, and you gravitate towards it. But for the most part, you kind of fall back on what you grew up on.
Yeah, no,
In
for
part
sure.
Because that's what you were. That was a time when you really enjoyed. Like you didn't have all these responsibilities and stuff like that, so it was kind of a little bit freer time and everything. But yeah, music changes every 6 months, basically. Um, but if you're not an artist, you really don't have to change with it. I don't think, for the most part, the listening public changes with it per se. Some do, but a
Yeah.
lot just they hang on to what they know.
So who are your top 3 rap artists and top 3 country artists? Just your favorites, though. They don't, not like an all-time list like who's but just top 3 of each one that you would say you probably listen to the most, or that you could just say, if I want to listen to it, I'm going with these guys. Or girls, you too. If you have females on there too.
If I went country, I really like, and nothing against the new stuff. I just haven't listened to as much of it as a lot of people have. I do fall back on George Strait quite a bit with the males. I'm a huge Dolly Parton fan, always have been. I do love Carrie Underwood. I think she's fantastic. And who was the other? We mentioned another person. Surprisingly, I'm not, and I know she's not technically country now. I'm not really a big Taylor Swift person. She's got some good music. She's a great songwriter, all that, but she's just not at the top of my list. But so Dolly is there, Carrie is there. I'll tell you what, there's a person that doesn't perform anymore, but I got to meet her, and that was a lady named Barbara Mandrell. And that's a whole different thing, but I grew up with her quite a bit, and I still fall back on her, and this goes way back, folks. For rap music, man, nothing current. Nothing current. I thought Queen Latifah was pretty good if the music was right. I really couldn't get it. I did like Oaktown 357, even though they didn't have a whole lot of success. But boy, they had a good couple of albums, CDs, however you want to put it. But I thought, like I said, Queen Latifah was good. If there was another person that I really thought, as far as rap goes, I don't know if anybody really stands out, but I'm not the bigger rap artists today. You mentioned a few like Missy Elliott and stuff like that. Probably not anyone really comes to mind for the most part with the women.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
for me, I mean, for just top 3, just real for me, I think if I have to think about rap, I'm probably gonna stick with. I'm probably gonna have to stick with, obviously, and there no order in particular, but for me going in, I probably have to say Ice Cube is definitely one of them I'm gonna listen to. I'm probably gonna go with Lil Wayne as another one, and then I gotta go Tupac. Tupac's probably the third.
very good. I did like LL Cool J quite a bit too.
I did too. It just for me, as he got old, like as he was getting more older into, he turned into a little bit more R&B than he stuck with the rap stuff for me, and it wasn't a bad thing. It's just he was making a lot more love songs and things like that, which I still liked and stuff, but it wasn't like at the top of the list for me. But I could still enjoy his music and stuff. But he kind of got out of the rap part of it. So like if we could talk about it too, but we can get into like R&B more and like more of those love type things, love song type ones for sure. But those would be my 3 for rap, and then for country, I gotta go. I mean, Tim McGraw is by far one of the top, and probably. I gotta go Morgan Wallen right now. We are just so locked in on that guy. We listen to him like all the time. I mean, everybody in this house listens to him. And then, I mean, there's probably 6 people I could put it in this last spot here. So I'm just gonna go George Strait too. But I mean, I can go Strait, Brooks. Garth Brooks. I can go Brad Paisley. I mean, there's a list. I can go Kane Brown too, but those are the three for sure that I could say no matter what. I'm just going to listen to them all day and I'm going to have fun with it. Definitely on if I had to think about, if I was just going to mention just the women portion of it, definitely I'm gonna go with Missy Elliott for sure. Definitely have to go with Trina, and I'm probably gonna go. Who's gonna be my last one that I'd probably say as far as. Yeah, Eve's probably gonna have to be my last one that I go with on there, and then for the country, Carrie Underwood, without a doubt, top. Shania Twain, I will go with, and just because we do, I mean, I can't lie, we listen to her so much, especially because if my daughter did this list, it would be Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift. But we do listen to her a lot, and I can't knock it, but I'm gonna have to go with her. I mean, I think that's where we would go with as far as a list on that.
Yeah, I mean, I could go way back with guys in country music, obviously, but
I mean, that's the thing that we're talking about. The list goes on when you go into country. I mean, it doesn't stop. I mean, there's so many. I mean, even still, Jason Aldean is another guy that I really like and listen to. But like I said, Luke Bryan is another guy that we hadn't talked about or anything. There's so many of them. It's crazy how many of them there are. So I get it, but it doesn't. But that's the thing that we're talking about. Even nowadays, we could still listen to these guys now. Chris Stapleton, like I said, I brought up Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, Kane Brown, Jelly Roll's another one Mike had brought up. But it's a different, where rappers, I can't even tell you some of these rappers' names nowadays. I don't know a lot. I mean, I mentioned a few. But the list can still keep going for country. The list stops at rappers where I said like a Kendrick Lamar, like a J. Cole. I mean, those guys, Kevin Gates. That's about it that I can say is doing tremendous still right now. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. And I know if I'm going to get hit with it, people are going to go, what about Drake? I'm not a Drake fan. Nor have I would be. And I don't consider him a rapper, I guess. I don't know. I mean... But Drake, sorry guys, but all I listen to in Drake's songs is him copying a bunch of beats from old songs back in the day that I've heard before, and calling himself great. I'm sorry, but I don't think Drake's that great. I mentioned far superior people in that field over him, and I don't give a damn what you say about awards and this and that, because Eminem said it before too. Those Grammys don't mean a damn thing. Because I guarantee you take a list and you go let people know, and you put Eminem on there, he's going to probably win a list. We didn't even talk about Eminem. Eminem's probably one of the top greatest rappers of all time. Now, he's just not in our group of something that we listen to all the time, but that doesn't make him not great, right? He is still one of the greatest rappers of all time. But but people don't like him because of what he says, how he acts, and the way he treats the Grammys and stuff. But so what? I base my music off of what I enjoy, what I like to hear. I'm not, just because Drake goes out and wins 50 Grammys, I'm not going to go buy his stuff and listen to it. I've already heard it. I wouldn't have voted for him. I didn't like it. Just because he's got those doesn't mean that he's a great.
Yeah, and I didn't care for Drake either. Guys like Drake, Chris Brown, those kind of guys. I just
Chris Brown's different. I don't know. He had his stint where he tried to do the rap thing and this and that, but he was more that hip hop and R&B type. I don't ever think he's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he can possibly do it, but he's got to stick to it. He's got to pick one or the other. He can't bounce back and forth. He's had a few, but when he was doing the rap, he had a lot of people on his tracks that kind of made it sound better. Like, what the heck was the song that he did? I'm drawing a blank on it, but I mean, he had Busta Rhymes, Lil Wayne. He had like all these iconic guys on there with him to make it sound better. So that's why it puts him out and makes him sound like he's better as far as a rapper, but it's not the truth.
No, and I do. For the rappers that are really true to what they do, male or female, if they have a lot of input into those songs, whether it's the writing aspect of it or they help again with the musical aspect of it, so to speak. and I can still respect that. But when you, like we've talked about, when you get into all these derogatory lyrics and everything, every other word is a cuss word. It's not really music anymore. It's just I don't know if it's just, you're just trying to be so bold and different that the shock value is more important to you than the quality of what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
don't
really
know.
not there with rap
I
music
don't know.
anymore. But country music is still there.
No, for sure. Definitely. All right, guys. Well, we are going to take a real quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to still talk about some old school and new school stuff. Maybe get into a few other things outside of music. But we'll take a quick break. And then we also got Rank These Guys. And I got a good one for Mike that we're going to stick to the music theme of it. But like I said, give us a few minutes and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back here, guys. Sorry, man. Stretched my legs. I told you guys I'm hurting. I'm hurting today. It's not fun. It's not fun when you're just hurting so much and all just because you just wanted to go and play some slow pitch softball.
My hands hurt today just from what I did with yard work, but that's how pathetic is that?
It's rough. It's really rough. I'm telling you right now. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. You know what else?
See?
I'm not gonna mention the name on here because I don't want to get in trouble for it. I got an angry thing to talk about though, real quick, because I was just, as I'm walking around stretching, I look up over at my counter over here. So, we ordered pizza the other night, right? I'm not gonna tell you where I ordered it from because, like I said, I don't get. But we ordered it through their app.
Oh, I'd throw it out there.
We-
This is a public service, bud.
No, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it for right now until I maybe, because we still got some things going on because we haven't gotten our money back yet. So let me explain to you on this situation. So we put the order through the app. We just want we want a meat lovers and we want a sausage because Nolan loves sausage. Cool. And we got some crazy bread. Oh shoot, I said where I got bread from. So now people may know. Order some pop, whatever. We get the order. It is the completely wrong order. The name on the order doesn't even match our name. I mean, we ordered, like I said, we ordered a meat lovers and a sausage. I got pepperoni and jalapeno, and I got the pretzel cheese pizza that they make there at this place. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, well, okay, we got the wrong order. Fine, let's give them a call and see what we can do. You know what the answer was? The answer was, well, they send us to a customer service. Now we don't go through the store, right? We don't go through the store. No. God forbid we call the exact store and just say, hey, you guys screwed up. Can we redo our order? No, we got to go through a whole nother customer service person who's not even associated with the store. They're like, well, unfortunately, I'd like to help you, but we can't just send another order and have them bring it out to you. We'll have to do a refund, and you should see your money back in 1 to 2 days, business days. Okay, so not only do I not get my food, that's correct, my kids aren't going to eat a pepperoni jalapeno pizza. That's hot for them. The other one, they didn't even like it when we gave it to them. It was too cheesy, too nasty, whatever. So now I'm out my money I spent with you guys for 1 to 2 days because you guys screwed up my order. How does that work? And now I don't have my food. So what I have to do is, the money I spent for this pizza, I'm out right now. You can't give it to me right now. I gotta wait 1 to 2 minutes. I have to reorder it, spend that same amount again, so I gotta pay you guys double just to get my right order? Ah, hell no, I'm not doing that.
And I agree with you. I got a quick story for you, and this is, and I don't care. I put names out there. I don't care. So I took my dad. I took my dad to a Dairy Queen. Right? My dad loves hot dogs. So we walked up to the counter. I walked up to the counter and said, "Hey, I'm gonna have a hot dog. My dad would like a hot dog, mustard, ketchup, the whole bit, some onions." So go sit down. So call the order. I go get it. Sit down. My dad's eating his. I'm having my hot dog. He's having his. My dad's looking kind of funny. So I said, "Dad," I said, "Hey," I said, you look like something's wrong. He said, I said, "What's wrong with your hot dog?" He said, "Hey, I don't know. I mean, the mustard, it tastes great. The relish, even the onions are pretty good. But there's like no hot dog." So they
just gave him a bun with all that stuff in it. No hot dog.
Yeah. So, but my thing was, see, that's kind of like what you're talking about, but customer service is gone, right? Customer service is out the window. It's gone, and there's nothing that makes them feel like they owe you anything. They don't, and
I knew it was going to be bad when you try to call the store directly, and they sent us to a whole other building and said, "You got to talk to these customer service people." What do those people do? They just take a call. They just take all the bad call orders and says, "We'll just give you your money back." But we can't get it to you right now. You have to wait. Why should I have to wait for my money that you guys messed up the order on?
The reality is, regardless of what's going on, you should just be given a new pizza.
They should be able to get contact. All right, hey, you know what? I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to call the store right now. They call the store. They have a direct line to their manager or something. Say, "Hey, I got this order number, blah, 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 blah. We sent the wrong one to them. Let's reorder it. Boom, send it out again."
You know why they do this? This is what I'm fully convinced of. And it's not just pizzas. It's just about anything. I can't stand see, here's my thing, and we're kind of digressing here, but I got to speak on this too, because when Bud starts talking about customers, see, this is all a part of a grand scheme of companies and corporations.
My God, you're right.
That what happens is when you're unsatisfied and you get on the phone, first of all, you have to be willing to spend like 3 hours online, on the phone waiting to talk to somebody, because you got to go through if you want to talk to this person, push 1, and then they get you that, then you got to push 2 and 3 and 1 again. And 1. So the whole point of this is that they're hoping that by the time you get discouraged before you ever speak to anybody, so you don't care anymore. That's the whole point of customer service. And if you do reach them by that point in time, you've been on the phone so long that you're deflated. You either don't remember what your complaint was, or you no longer care enough to call them on it.
See, here's my problem. Go ahead. If you do,
then they just tell you, "Well, I'll tell you what, we're not gonna give you a new whatever, but we'll reimburse you the money, and you'll see it in 1 to 365 business days."
Well, see, the problem for me is I'm very understanding. I understand that not every time I order something, it's gonna be perfect. I get that portion of it. Sometimes you're gonna get stuff wrong. You're gonna forget something. And I'm okay. I'm okay if you tell me we messed up. I'm sorry. Can you just wait another 20 minutes and I'll get it right back out to you? I will wait that extra 20 minutes to get my right. But now, instead of making that an option, now I have to wait longer to get my refund. I am now unsatisfied and unhappy because I just spent money that I'm not getting back tonight on the food that now none of us are going to eat. So now I'm pissed off because I'm hungry. and I ain't get my
And
food.
here's the thing too. So did they literally? Did they? This is one of my things too. So did they literally give the driver the wrong pizza?
Okay, so here's here's the thing.
He had in their vehicle 4 different pizzas.
No, this guy only
And
had one
they-
because I seen him outside when he came in. But this is the other problem, right? We ordered directly from directly from their app directly, right? But the problem is they send it out with DoorDash, Uber, and all this. These pizza places don't have their own drivers anymore. This is the problem here, okay? They don't have their own driver. So, but here's the worst part about it, and this is the only reason why I also said I understand the mistakes. I understand if something gets switched up, right? My wife's name is Kayla. The order on there said Kayla, but a different last name, spelled the same way. So I understood the mix-up. 2 Kaylas ordered at the exact same time. Okay, sorry. Then just tell me that. Oh, hey, you know what? We just mixed up the Kaylas. This one was supposed to go this way. He's supposed to go. She probably got your order. Okay, then just remake it and send it out to me. But no, they don't want to because, oh, well then now we've given out too much money. Now, we're giving out too much. We're going to lose money. So what? It's your mistake, though. So you have to take care of your customer because we always do Little Caesars. We've loved Little Caesars, okay? That's what I'm going to say. It's Little Caesars, okay? This is what makes me angry. I've ate there all the time. When they did the first $5 hot pizzas, right? They were great. Now the money's went up, but I still buy from them. I don't care that they're not $5 anymore because they're good. They're great. The kids love the Crazy Bread. They've never messed up. But this one time that there's a mess up and you can't fix this for me, that doesn't make sense. Why is it so hard to just fix the situation that was messed up on your guys' part? Because the real reason is, had you had your own drivers, you're not using a third party to deliver your stuff and this like that. Now that's where you're screwed at. Because when these Ubers or these DoorDashers come, once they drop it off, they're gone. They don't go back to the store like a worker because they don't have to. They just wait for the next order to come in, or they're going off to wherever else. They're going to Wendy's or Burger King, whatever, to pick up the next order for the next person. They don't go back to the store or anything like that. So what's wrong with having your own in-house drivers that can take care of that, or just fixing the problem? You're telling me that those people in customer service couldn't call that store and just say, hey, you screwed up on the order, remake it, send it back out?
I walked into, this is like, I don't know, 6 years ago, right? And this is when it just started happening. And I didn't know this. I walk into a McDonald's. And I just stopped in during lunchtime, right? So I go in there, and there's nobody at the counter. And so I see this viewing screen, just standing.
Yep. You got to place your own order now, right?
And so I don't even look at this. So I go so the girl comes up to me. I'm at the counter, and she says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah. Can I get like a hamburger, small order French fries, and a drink?" She said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I need you. Do you see that machine right there?"
She didn't turn you away and tell you to go do it.
Nah,
she didn't. She turned you away to go do it on the screen.
I said, wait a minute. So wait a minute. I said, so I have to do the order through the machine? She said, yeah, you need to place your. I said, okay, but you're standing right here.
Exactly.
And so why can't you just take my order? She said, well, it's because that's the way it works now. You need to go over there and place your. I said, I know, but I'm standing right here talking to you right now. So if you know what my order is and there's nobody else here, then why can't you just get me my hamburger and get me my French fries and my drink, and I'll be on my way?
Exactly.
Why should I have to walk over 4 feet and place the order when you're talking to me right now?
So
she said, well, sir, it doesn't work that way. I said, this is ridiculous. I said, I understand what you're telling me, but you're talking to me. I'm looking at you, and I'm telling you this is what I want. And so I was like,
and that's sad, right? Because you have that going on, but yet you have people at like a Dutch Bros or a Chick-fil-A standing out there with their iPads or whatever it is, taking orders outside when their lines are long. Now talk to me about customer service. Who's doing what better than the other, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I have a big thing with drive-throughs anyway anymore. You know, because firstly, usually they you know, I could go into a Starbucks, and I don't drink Starbucks, but you know, sometimes you go in and you get some people some drinks. Like I would stop sometimes with people I work with. They'd say, "Hey, can you stop at Starbucks and pick this crap up? We'll pay you back." And so every Starbucks, every line at a Starbucks drive-through is 35 cars long. That's the first thing you see at Starbucks. Every line of cars is 35 cars long at a Starbucks. You go inside the Starbucks and there's like 5 people, right? There's 5 people. There's 4 people waiting, and there's like two whatever they call those people. I can't think right now, but baristas. So there's like 2 baristas. There's 4 customers, but outside the Starbucks, there's 35 cars waiting to get their whatever they're getting. Which I really don't understand, because you're telling me that you would rather wait in that line for 45 minutes to get your cup of grande or whatever they call this thing. You could have gone inside and you could have got it already. Because I'm telling you, and my point is, you go through the drive-through in any place right now, and has been for years. I'm telling you, 5 times out of 10, something's going to be wrong. Something's going to be wrong. The drink's going to be wrong. Your pickles are left off. You know, if it's right. Starbucks,
you're not wrong.
You know, I mean, so why not just go in, and if it is wrong, you could turn right around. Because I'm telling you, you're going to get it in the drive-through. You're going to drive off, and next thing you know, you're 3 blocks, a mile down the road.
You're right,
and it's wrong.
You're right, because and that's the other thing is nowadays I noticed that I have a hard time when I go through the drive-through. I have a hard time because before I used to be like check everything, make sure everything's good. I don't do that anymore. I just go, like, because I'm ready to just go. Like, I'm already, if I'm out and about, I'm grabbing food, it's usually because we're on our way home. It's like, I want to get home. So I just, like, grab the food and go, right? But you're right, but the thing is I'm sorry, but, and like I said, times get busy. I get everybody, everybody's going to make a mistake. You're not going to be perfect at your job, okay? But at the same time, can you at least, the other thing that I'm like, can you at least show some sort of, like, happiness? Like, I get you might be not your ideal job, right? But why do you have to show it and be so rude to people? I'm just coming here to grab some food for my family and stuff like that. I'm not mean to you. I didn't do nothing to you. I didn't make you work here. I don't know if your boss is bad to you or not. But why can't you just show a little bit of happiness for the people that they didn't put you in that spot where you're at? If you're mad if you're that mad at your job, then just quit. Go do something else.
What I don't get is, and I don't know when this actually became like acceptable. I guess I understand it to a degree, but I still fail to understand that I have to go to the grocery store, and I go through all the aisles and I get all the groceries I'm there to get, whatever. I wait at the deli to get my meats, and I go down every aisle to get what I need for that particular trip. And whatever else I have to do, maybe I got to stop at the pharmacy. But at the end of all this, I go up to the checkout, and on top of everything else, I now have to bag my groceries. I already shopped for the groceries. I did that part. So I already put forth the maximum effort, really, because I had to go and take it off the shelf and do all these things. But yet I get up to the checkout line, and now a lot of times I got to bag my own groceries. I had to bag my own groceries. And then back to your point, this is where I do have sympathy for the cashier, because sometimes they do have to help. They have to bag it and they have to check it. I get it. But kind of like you're talking about, bud, sometimes they get these attitudes, and so they direct it back at you because you're the only person they could yell at, really, or they cop an attitude with because you're the person that's right there. But I'm just like, so why do I'm not at the self-checkout. I am in a checkout line. I'm not at self-checkout. That's what self-checkout is for. I didn't opt for self-checkout here. This is where there's a cashier, and this is the one I hate most, right? And this happens more often than I can believe. I try to find the line that's got the bagger. You know, everything looks good. Everything looks great. He or she is bagging his stuff. We're rocking, we're rolling. The cashier's got everything going. I become deathly afraid that by the time my groceries are about to go down past the cashier, that bagger is going to bail out and disappear. This happens more often than not. So right when I get up there, the bagger takes off, and now sure enough, that leaves me to do this crap. And I'm just like, and I don't know how to be a bagger. You know, this isn't my expertise. I'm not experienced in bagger. I didn't go and learn how to do all this stuff. I know self checkout. I've got that part down because that's what's expected of me. I need to know what that vegetable is. I need to know what that code is. So I do all that. But then you hit me with the surprise thing where all the groceries are just sitting there, and then I got to race down and bag them all up, and I got to come back. I got to swipe my discount card, and then I got to, process the credit card. I mean, you may as well just let me back there, then I'll just ring it all up too. I mean, we have to do everything now, and I don't understand that anymore.
I have no idea why it is the way it is. And, obviously that's one thing that we've been talking about all night is just the differences of the times. It literally, the times are just so different and nothing's the same. It's crazy how much things have changed and how bad it is now. Especially when it comes, like I said, coming down to customer service. Like, there's just no reason for half the stuff that we see nowadays. And one thing is, I've been in customer service my whole life. I've done, that's all the jobs that I've done, is direct customer service stuff. And I have never, everybody has their bad days, but for me, I always try to tell people when, I'm in an interview or anything like that, even if I am having a bad day, whether it be a home, something going on, I try to keep it at home. I try to keep things away from the workplace because I want to be able to do the best job that I can each time that I'm here. And I get it. Some days you can. Some days are harder than others. But you still got to keep pushing. Like, not every day is going to be a bad day while you're out there. So just enjoy it. Plus, you're getting paid. You're getting paid while you're, think about it. You're making money while you're there. Plus, if you're working at a fast food place or something like that, sure, the benefit, I get, you work there for a long time. Like, you're probably like, I'm over this food, but there's some of the benefits. I'm sure you get food from the place. There's no way you can't tell me you don't. At least if it's not for free, you probably get a discount, a hell of a discount for it.
Man, I remember one of my very first jobs, to talk about what you're saying, but you could have anything you wanted for your lunch, like from the restaurant. Mm-hmm. It was the second job I had. Oh, no, first job. Very first job, and then I had a comic book job. But anyway, so you could have anything in the restaurant you wanted, basically. The one thing you could not have was orange juice. You could not have orange juice. If you even took the cup and put it in there and somebody reported you, you got a demerit.
Jeez. Well,
I got a demerit for orange juice.
Jesus.
But it was because orange juice was so pricey and stuff like that. But kind of like what you're talking about. But a lot of times you get the benefits of if you work at the Burger King, if you work at the Taco Bell, you get to sample these things as long as you don't get crazy with it.
Makes sense.
But everything is different now. Everything is different now. Customer service doesn't even exist anymore.
Absolutely not. All right, guys. Well, you guys know what time it is. We are going to get into rank these now, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. And we're going to give us a little bit more time in it because I have a feeling Mike's going to enjoy talking about some of these things that we're going to get into on this one. Like I said, it's going to be music related, but we'll be right back with some of these rank these.
Move on the map, what you gonna do when you at, who you with, you ain't just like that, don't you, really gonna move on the map. Move on the map, what you gonna do when you at, who you with, you ain't just like that, don't you, really gonna move on the map.
Alrighty, guys, it is time for rank these, and I told you guys a little bit different show today. We all know that. So, what we're going to do, because I want to see where he puts these, okay? And this is gonna hit, and I can already tell when I say what we're gonna do. We're gonna do his top 5 blind Elvis songs ranking. So, let's see here, Mike. Let me get my Where the heck did it go? I have my list here real quick for you. So do you think, can you guess in your head, can you guess maybe, I want you to think right now, in your head, try to guess what the 5 I would pick for you, and then I want to see how many you actually got right that you think I would have. How many?
So give it to you ahead of time?
No. At the end, I want you, once the list is all done, I just want you to be like, oh, you know what? I thought you were going to give me this one. Or if I get them all, cool. But
Okay, I got you, bud.
let's start off with Suspicious Minds.
Probably 5.
Okay.
Yeah, very good song. As a matter of fact, that was his last really high charted song. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
was Suspicious Minds. Really good song. You know, I loved his 60s stuff, but I was also a bigger fan of his early stuff. But his voice with songs like Suspicious Mind that was his vocally. That's when he had a much deeper voice. His range had really grown, so he was really maximizing his abilities.
Yep. For sure.
So I had a lot of appreciation for it. But as far as his overall body of work goes, and I love the song.
Yeah.
I really love the song. But I'd give that one a 5.
Okay. Next, then we're gonna go with Hound Dog.
That would be some, that's, I'm not a big, this is a surprise, probably a lot of Elvis fans, me obviously being one of them. That was not one of my all-time favorite songs, his early stuff. I still would probably put it ahead of Suspicious Minds. I would probably have it 4.
Okay.
I liked the song. It was a cover on a Big Mama Thornton song. And it's part of, I won't go into this yet because the other song might be here, but I think it was the B-side to this other song that could possibly be on this list. But both songs off this 45 went gold. It was a massive 45. It was 2 of his biggest songs ever. But I would put it. I could actually put it behind Suspicious Mind, but I won't. I'd have it 4 though.
4. Okay.
Yeah, great song.
Let's go with next, In the Ghetto.
Man. Song's kind of depressing. It was a good song. Mac Davis wrote it. Very, very. It spoke about a lot of. It was very. No, it's not. It wasn't a political song, but it really spoke about society and what was going on at the time. To tell you the truth, I would put it 3. But if I had known this ahead of time, I would have put it 5.
Okay. So see, this is how I know, folks. So I know Mike as an Elvis fan, right? I could go out and just give him all these top ones that everybody kind of really knows, but I know that this one's a little bit tougher for him to put because, as you can tell, he's thinking more. He's probably thinking, oh, I'm going to give him this, and I'm going to give him that, and these are the top ones. The reason I do this list, guys, because he's thinking now. He's thinking, but okay, so let's just have some fun. Don't be cruel.
Is this actually one of them?
Yes, that's the next one.
Oh,
next
okay, it is one of them. If that's on there, that would be actually 2.
There we go.
Or what are we up to?
You have 3, 4, and 5, so you have to put a 1 or 2.
Yes, this would literally be 2.
2.
That's actually one of my all-time favorite songs. Always has been, always will be. I love the vocals. I love the harmonizing by the Jordanaires on it. Wasn't crazy about the live performances he did with it, but when you listen to it as it was released in mono, it's absolutely fantastic song.
Yeah.
But it's it literally is my second favorite song of his.
Well, then number 1 on your list, Mike, is going to be A Mole Shook Up. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Are you okay with All Shook Up as number 1? Are you okay with your list then?
No. If off of this 5 songs offered, that would be 3.
That'd be 3. Okay. So what you have? So All Shook Up would be 3. So if you had it in order, then so if you were to pick your order, what would it have been then?
it would be Don't Be Cruel 1, All Shook Up 2. Um,
In the Ghetto, then?
Suspicious Mind 3, In the Ghetto 4, Hound Dog 5. Yeah. Now, if
All
I
right.
pick my 5 songs, Heartbreak Hotel is number 1. Don't Be Cruel is number 2. Jailhouse Rock is 3. If I Can Dream is 4. And 5, Can't Help Falling in Love.
See, I
Yeah.
knew obviously putting in, you know, Heartbreak Hotel, putting Jailhouse Rock. I mean, those are going to be up at the top, right? Those are like those main. Yeah, and for me, you know.
I'll tell you real quick, bud. I'll give you a quick story on why Heartbreak Hotel is my all-time favorite Elvis song. And I don't think I ever did this on a podcast. I'm not sure I ever told Anthony this, because Anthony knows how much I love Elvis. But I will say real quick, you know, if you come into, you know, my house, as big an Elvis fan as I am, you don't see Elvis everywhere. There's not Velvet Elvis, there's not Elvis pillows, there's not Elvis bedspreads and all these other things. I don't, you know, that type of stuff. Now I do have an Elvis coffee cup that I do drink from, and there's a couple other things. So he is there. I'm 7 years old. We go to visit my relatives one day. It was a weekend, my dad's relatives. And it was just one of those family get-togethers. You know how that goes, bud. You have some food, stuff like that. So I really didn't want to interact with everybody. I was just kind of doing my own thing. And I became curious about they had this record collection in their living room. I just started perusing through it. And on the cover of this album is this picture. This is the picture on the album cover, right? It says it's his gold records. It's his very first collection of gold records. I wasn't really familiar with him, so I asked my aunt, because she came in the room and she said, "Hey," she said, "Did you want to come hang out?" And I said, "No," but I said, "Would you mind if I put this album on?" And she said, "No, you go right ahead and listen to it." So I put it on, and I can't remember what the first 2 songs were. One might have been Jailhouse, or I can't remember the exact order. Anyway, I'm 7 years old and I hear Heartbreak Hotel, and you could that was like hitting me with an automobile. It absolutely blew me away. I had never heard anything like this in my life. I mean, the lyrics were kind of, for a song, it was kind of depressing. It's about a guy committing suicide because he's so depressed about life. But it was just the intro to the song. Anthony knows the song; he's heard it, you know. But it was the intro to the song, and Elvis fans know this. But it was just it was so different from anything that had been done. Firstly, because it was about suicide, but it was just the way it was performed and it was recorded, and it just hit me like a lightning bolt. And I just thought, man, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And so from the time I was 7 years old, that literally changed my music life forever. I was 7 years old, and you know, I won't go into my age right now, because if I lit candles, I'd burn the house down. But
I mean, and this is something, guys, to kind of.
But it was
the reason I want to. We've done what we have today, and just to kind of put in perspective, just the difference of. We've been getting on this whole kick about difference between old school and new school. There is nobody, definitely not now, even that can compare to what Elvis had did. You can't find. He's just like when we talk about sports, guys. He is the Michael Jordan. He is the Wayne Gretzky, the Tom Brady. He's the GOAT for what he does in his genre of work. Okay, I can't think of anybody. And maybe you can. Maybe somebody's brought to you because you're a fan of him. So if you would just have seen, is there somebody that you've seen coming up after him that you could say, you know what, he does kind of remind me of him. He, his music, his work ethic, it's kind of like him. Do you see that from anybody? Have you ever seen that?
No, and a lot of people would jump right in with this, and they would say Michael Jackson, the king of pop. And I get it. I do. Very influential, very impactful.
Prince too, maybe, or something like that too, right?
Who?
Prince is another one that kind of gets into that genre with Michael Jackson
actually,
and stuff too. They kind of do that same thing.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Because I'll tell you what. I saw Prince in concert. At the Pepsi Center. That guy performed for 3 hours. For 3 hours he performed.
I'm not
and
surprised.
So I can't remember who the opening act was. And you didn't even care who the opening act was because he came up from it was in the round, and the stage was there. The smoke started filtering through the platform, and so the smoke is there, and then you can just literally see Prince and his band come up from underneath the platform.
Wow.
And so in there, and you just because he's there, and I think he was wearing like a light purplish type outfit. But this is Prince, and so you just knew who it was. And for me, I just thought, I mean, Prince for me I thought his writing book, because Elvis never wrote. Elvis didn't write songs. But Prince, we know about Prince. Prince wrote, he's like Taylor Swift. He's one of the greatest writers in the history of music.
Yeah.
Prince, bar none. He's one of the greatest writers. But to watch him perform for 3 hours,
That's
his
crazy.
ability to
3 hours is crazy, but it's not surprising.
But look at but the guy had that look. You didn't see anything like Prince.
No.
You've seen Purple Rain.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like those guys, they're like you're talking when you talk about Mount Rushmores of like the music of doing everything. You probably put those three up there. I mean, because Michael. I mean, Michael was just different, right? Because the thing is, but see, this is what we're talking about. How the old school paves the way for these types of guys. Because just because you sit there and listen, and most people probably think, oh, you listen to Elvis, and yeah, you hear the kind of music he made. Like, he was probably just a singer. He just stood there and you sang, and he had a great voice. The guy could move. He could dance. Now, it's not the moves that you see now. It's not the Chris Brown moves and all these crazy stuff that these guys are putting on. Even what Michael Jackson was doing back then with the moonwalk and all. It wasn't the same, but he could move. Elvis's moves almost was controversial, right, Mike? If I'm not mistaken, people because they didn't like the way his hips were moving and things like that. That was too derogatory at that point, right? It was sexual and type of stuff. So he was getting a lot of, he was getting a lot of grief for that. Compared to what's going on nowadays, right? That you see it, and that was bad then. But he paved the way for guys like Prince and MJ to be able to do what they did, to dance and sing and put all this stuff out there. Not only that, guys, Elvis was an actor, too. He made movies that were based off of his songs. Kissing Cousins, you know what I mean? He was so talented on what he did. And now, I'm not going to sit here and say that he was like, he was going to win an Oscar and all this stuff. Like, he was that kind of an actor. But for what he put out, the type of movies, like, they weren't going box office crazy. But they were good movies. Like, you could throw, like, my mom used to just throw on some of his, some of his movies every Saturday or something like that. I wake up randomly on Saturday, my mom's like, I'm watching G.I. Blues. I'm going to watch Kissing Cousins. Yeah. Cool, because the other thing that was so great is most people, and especially for me, if you have a good movie but also a terrific soundtrack, I'm locked. Well, guess what? The soundtrack is Elvis. So how are you not locked into that movie? You know what I mean? Like a Top Gun, right? Top Gun. That soundtrack, that makes the movie just as better because you're gonna hear great songs on top of a terrific movie.
Yeah, see, the thing with Elvis was, and like you said, buddy, and I know there's been a lot of stuff said, with that last movie that came out. He stole this, he stole that, and I understand that. But Elvis never claimed to. He was given credit for his name was put on a lot of the songs that were released, and that was just to make additional money. That's the one thing I wish that they hadn't done with Elvis. I wish Elvis had sort of stepped up and said, "Hey, I can't do that because that's royalties that really the full benefit of those royalties should go to the writer." And Elvis didn't write, so that's my only area of contention. Other than that, though, Elvis was a guy this is a person who was doing things that nobody had ever done before. So he didn't have anybody to compare this to. His rise was so meteoric that he didn't have anybody to talk to about these type of things. It was because this is uncharted territory. And so it was just him living it, and dealing with it as it happened. And it was, nobody had experienced this before. But Elvis took a lot of what he did from other people. Big Mama Thornton, obviously Chuck Berry was there, and Fats Domino was there. These are guys that Elvis also fed off of. B.B. King was another one, a blues guy. So he had his influences too, but he also had his musical interests crossed the boards from opera to blues to to gospel, to all those things. And there was a combination that he put together.
You never got a
Like
chance to see him, right? Did you ever get a chance to see?
Closest I ever got, I was, I think I was 8 years old. We were in Charlotte, driving down the road, and I saw in this marquee, some arena. I said, Elvis is coming. And I asked my mom, I said, hey, Elvis is coming. I said, can we go? No, we can't go. That's as close as I got.
Fair enough.
But I wish I could have seen him.
That would be cool. I mean, it would be nice. And concerts are hard. The nice thing for me is when I was working the concerts, that made it so much fun because literally the first concert I ever worked was literally considered the first concert I ever went to. And it wasn't terrible. It was Jewel and John Legend, which was actually pretty good. It was actually, John Legend could put on a concert, man.
Doing that, bud? I mean, did you ever, how close did you get to the actual entertainers?
There was a few times I walked them to the place,
Really?
Like, it was funny. I tell this story all the time. It's hilarious because I had to do I don't know if it was a back to school jam or if it was summer jam, but it's a rap concert. But Bow Wow was there, and he jumped down off the stage. Well, I knew he was gonna, because sometimes they tell us. They say, hey, sometimes they'll tell us, like in our pre-meetings and stuff. Say, hey, if this rapper jumps off, follow him. Grab, have your crew that you want, follow them, go with it. They have some that are like, if he jumps off, let him. Like, just like David Banner. They're like, if he jumps off, he has his own security. Don't even worry about him. If he wants to jump in, because he was jumping into the crowds and stuff, they're like, let him do whatever he wants. You guys aren't in charge of him. His security. But Bow Wow, I knew he was going to come on. He is standing right here by me where the stage is. Obviously, the stage is high, so you can see him. So he jumped down, and I went to turn to look, and I looked over his head. He was shorter than me. I was like surprised. I was really surprised. I thought he was as tall, if not taller than me. No, he was shorter than me. But he was right there. I mean, I tell the story too about it. It's not just even the singers, but I did do Nuggets games at one point, and I had LeBron James standing right over me signing autographs as I was doing, and I looked up and I said, he was huge. And when he was with the Heat, yeah, he's a big man. Yeah, he was huge. But I've been close to a lot of them. I mean, we hung out with Five Finger Death Punch after a concert one time. I got to meet the lead singer. I forget his name, but he's from here too. He's from Colorado. The lead singer, I believe, Ivan is his name. I just think about it, but we got to take pictures with them and hang out. I have a picture of my phone on my Facebook with him after the concerts, but they were really cool. The rap ones were the hardest. We didn't really hang out with a lot of them because they're like they're like get in and go. They're like after it's all said and done, like most of them don't even hang out for the whole entire show. It's like once they're done with their set, they're back in their stuff and they're gone. Like they're out for the night already. The rock groups, they stick around because they want to party, they want to hang out and do their thing, so they will stick around for a while. But I did a Stevie Wonder concert one time. That was really, really good. Like I've done so many country and what else would there be? Country is, I'd have to say country. Yeah, country's probably the easiest because everybody's just there for a good time and chill. Heavy metal, rock, and rap, those are the worst concerts to where everybody's so angry. It's like, you paid money to be here. Why are you so angry to be at a concert? Everybody wants to fight and all this stuff, too.
I don't know if I ever told you this, because you kind of got to see this. I had a buddy. He worked at a pharmacy, and he said, hey, you want to come down with me one time? He says, I need to go down to, he had a friend that worked at the Pepsi Center, right? Yeah. And I can't remember what was going on. But he said, hey, if you want to come with me, you can. I just got to meet him. But he works in the security. And I don't know what the concert was going to be. I didn't even pay attention to that. But anyway, so we got down there, and I don't know what he exactly was doing with his friend, but we literally, his friend knew he was coming, so they literally let us just go in.
Yeah.
And we had to go inside, and his friend was down there around the stage and whatnot. And so, and I can't remember for the life of me who was going to perform. But I just remember looking at the stage, and he was talking to his friend, and I said, so this is, whoever this is, I said, so this is literally the stage, right? He said, yeah. He said, I said, man, that is crazy. He said, did you want to walk up there for a second? And I was like, I could literally walk up there. He said, yeah. He said, just don't, touch anything, just something like that. He says, but if you guys want to walk, I'll walk you up there, just so you don't get. So he walks us up there, right? And it was, and so I literally walk out onto this thing, and I'm looking at the Pepsi Center, and I'm just looking at what this is it's gonna fill up, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this would be a rush. I could take cocaine, I could take heroin,
Jeez.
I could take every drug you could imagine, right? And I can't imagine. I just can only imagine, right, that being in front of like 18,000 people and they're just like screaming your name. What kind of rush must that be?
I don't know.
That's got to be like insane.
I'm with you. Because I think about that all the time. Because doing the concert, standing in front of the stage, even just standing there as security, it's kind of one of those things. Because you just see all these people you're looking at. You're looking directly in the crowd, and you can imagine they're just going nuts. I mean, and the one cool thing I love the most about when they interact so good with the crowd, that just makes you such a better entertainer. And when they're sitting there putting they're putting the microphone out and they're telling the crowd and they love it because they're like, they know my songs. This is what they enjoy. Like, I'm doing this, and all these people in this arena, in this whatever maybe, they love it. And that makes them feel good, right? It's like the stuff that I'm putting out here, you're enjoying. You know every single word of my song. You know what I mean? And I love the ones that entertain, interact with the crowd. And you see that more with country. That's where you see it the most. Heavy metal's real good with it too. They really interact with their crowd members a lot. One thing I will say, like, even though they're crazy and stuff, the heavy metal artists, they take care of their crowds, meaning if they'll, like, obviously, like the mosh pits and stuff, if they see somebody getting crazy in those mosh pits, like too crazy or trying to start, I've actually seen a singer stop his concert. I'm stopping. Get that guy out of here, or I'm not singing another beat. And he will stop,
Really?
and he'll make sure. Or if he sees something going on, I've seen artists stop. I've actually been at the concert, and I can't remember who it was, but we were literally told, this was actually at the Pepsi Center at the time, they said, guys, we need to be on our A game for this one tonight. They told us, do not even attempt, I think it was a girl, but I want to say it was a woman that was on stage. I could be wrong, though, but I want to say it was, but they said, whatever you do, when her set comes on, do not even attempt, don't even try to look at the stage. She has literally called out security people because she says, you're getting paid to watch the folks and make sure that they're safe. You're not getting paid to watch my show. She's had security guards kicked out from the front to bring somebody else in to say, you're not going to watch me, you're not watching the show. So you had to be you were on it at 100. You're watching, you're focused, you're not, because there are times, yes, some security guards, and you see it on YouTube, you see the guys that get crazy, have fun with it and stuff, but there are some that get that job just to get the free concert, just to get in for that. Because I've seen it numerous times. I've seen some people show up for like one or two concerts, and I'm like, where was that person we had before? Oh, they haven't asked to get on again. Oh, well, now we know why. They were there to see the concert. They weren't there to actually work for us full time. They just wanted to see.
Really?
And yeah, because the thing is with some of these companies, especially the security ones like that, they hire almost just anybody. They're always looking because there's so many venues. You just go and sign up, and then you pick. At the time, the way it works, I don't know if it is now. I mean, this is 15 years ago that I did? No. Oh, yeah, somewhere around there. 15 years ago I was doing this almost. But you get your schedule, every month, and then you would pick and choose what you want to work. You call up that supervisor and say, hey, I want to work on this date, I want to work on this one, you got an opening? But I already knew where I was working. I already had my schedules. I didn't have to call anybody because my boss was the guy I picked up every day to go to work every day with me. So, because it's Damon was my boss, Damon Trujillo. So, I already knew my schedule, what I was doing. So, but yeah, you would pick and choose you whatever you wanted, and that's how you got paid. So that's just what you did. So I'm sure some of these people just got on and said, well, I just want to work that. I just want to, and they didn't care about the money. It's just, I just want to get a free concert. I just want to see it there. And some of them did. They just watched, and it could backfire on you though, because the one thing for us is in that we were really good is we were front of house, is what we called us. We were the front of house, which we covered the stage. We front of the stage. We didn't let nobody on. We were, and the thing is I got a lot of flack at first for being up there because everybody behind me in that front of that stage was like a 20 to 25 plus vet that had been there before. They've been doing these concerts for 20 plus years. So for me to walk in my first year ever and being like, you know, who's this kid? Because I was only like 19 at the time when I started doing that. Who's this kid that gets to come in front of the house? He should be working. Because I worked at Fiddler's, that was the main one that I worked at. He should be working grass or doing pat downs or something. Why is he up front? But my work ethic, I won all of them. I won. This guy's name was Rick. He took me under his wing. He had been there for I think at the time when I started, he's been doing it for 28 years already. He's like, he came up to me one day, this was after a concert, and he was like, and it was a rough concert, it was rough, but I was doing the down aisle. I wasn't in front yet. I was still on the down aisle, just trying, basically my thing was check tickets, get the people to their spot, keep the aisle clear, don't have, just everything like that. He came up to me and said, you know what? He's like, I've never seen anybody of your age come in and do the job that you do here. He's like, you work hard and you are great at what you do and you're going to be fine with us here. He's like, so if you ever have a problem, you come and call me and I will be out there to help you with whatever. And he took me under his wing and he's always been there for me. Another guy was Tom Wolf. Shout out to him. He was a great person that took me under his wing also and really helped me out, become a better security guard, better at doing my job and keeping stuff. And if I ever needed help because there was somebody else that I just couldn't get out of the way or there was too many of them coming on, they hopped that barricade and they came and helped me anytime I needed it. So for sure, shout out to Rick Sanchini and Tom Wolf. If you guys see this, I appreciate you guys for what you guys did for me as a security person. And also Damon took me under his wing and he always knew that I could work hard for him. And he had a vision for me to say, even though he's a young kid, I think he could still have the work ethic to do it. And I did it for about 3 or 4 years, and I loved it. But after a while, I couldn't do it anymore. It got time consuming, with other jobs because it was my second job working at the time. So I'd have to go to work, then go to a concert, wouldn't get home till late, have to get up again to re-go to my job again. And it's just it got hard. And I couldn't do it full time because it was just, there was so many things and you had to go from venue to venue to venue to venue to keep, and I was like, no, I just didn't want to keep doing it. But I loved it. It was great. If anybody ever wants to do it, I totally recommend it, especially if you're young and you can do it. Totally recommend it for sure because it's fun. But please make sure you do your job first and then enjoy after of it. But because that's what you're there to do, is to work. You're not there to watch the concert and enjoy that portion of it. But you still get to listen. I mean, you get to hear your songs. You get to hear that portion of it. But please make sure you're there for the safety of the folks around you, and you're there for the safety of the people that are doing the concert too. That's the main part of it.
Yeah, and like we talked about, with music tonight and everything, that's the beauty of music. Regardless, no, we don't exactly care for what they do now with rap and that type of thing, but there's a little bit of music for everybody. I've never met anybody that did not at least enjoy some type of music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So whether it's old school, it's new school, music is always going to be there regardless of whether you or I can personally relate to what's out now or what. It was the same thing when I was a kid and you were a kid. We listened to things that our parents couldn't relate to, and that's sure. Everything changes.
There was some songs my parents held off from us listening to also at their time, and then as we got older, they were okay with us listening to it. But the other thing is folks, the other thing about music too is it can help reset your mind. You know, people that go through, you know, mental health stuff, things like that. There's certain songs that can help. There's certain artists that stick to that. They want to help with the mental health. They want you to, you know, be able to, you know, live a healthy, normal life through their music. So that's one thing that music has done for, you know, whether you're feeling down, whether you're happy, whether you're angry, there's music for that to help with all that. There's tons of different stuff. Especially nowadays, you can go on there and just look it up. I'm angry. Okay, look up some angry songs. Help change your mood. Oh, I'm happy. I'm ready to, you know, one thing I love to do, you know, that we'll probably end up doing tomorrow because it's Sunday. It's reset time for school and work and stuff like that for us. We're going to be cleaning the house. Throw on some YouTube, put on some good music, some cleaning music, and you're going to start cleaning the house to some music all day long. That's, depending on how you want to mellow out and just kind of chill out, put on your playlist, you know what I mean? Enjoy music though, folks. Don't just listen to it because you think you have, this guy has the most of this and he has the most. Find somebody you enjoy. Find the music you enjoy and run with it. Like, listen to what we've went through rap as far as going into even, you know, the Beastie Boys, Run DMC, to Tupac, to Lil Wayne, to even now talking about Kevin Gates or the J. Cole's. Going into country music, talking about Tim McGraw, talking about Dolly Parton, talking about Taylor Swift, you know, Missy Elliott for female rappers, till even now going into Elvis. This is so many different genres, so many different types of music out there, folks. And guys like us, regardless of our age, regardless if we're young or old, we can listen to any of it. Because it's something that it makes us happy. They're good music. They're not just good, they're great. Great music. And it's not just the words, it's the beat. It's everything to it. It's how it sounds. You know, and that's the other thing is I don't feel like a lot of artists care about their sound anymore. Like, the sound just isn't as great. And one thing I was going to bring up too, because I brought it up a few minutes, and I don't want to get too crazy in this because I know we're kind of running out of time, but like the soundtrack thing. Why has soundtracks got so bad to is it because the music isn't what it used to be? Maybe that shows exactly too why there isn't great music, because you don't even hear great soundtracks to movies anymore. Like I brought up Top Gun. Top Gun was what, in the 80s? And so look at the soundtrack to that. Look at a lot of the Rocky, right? Another great soundtrack to movie. You know, there's so many different video movies back then where you could listen, you're like, oh man, that soundtrack is just as good as any other ones, right? Well, I don't get that anymore this nowadays. I don't get a great soundtrack to these songs. To be honest, if I do, you're getting it in Disney movies. It's not regular movies anymore. It's Disney that you're getting at least better soundtracks than some of than just regular movies on nowadays.
Yeah. And that's a great point too with the soundtracks, bud, because I remember back in the day when I was younger, the soundtracks were always, in a lot of ways, they were as important as the movie was. Because obviously it's scene enhancement, you know, and indirectly it added to the storyline, to the effect of that particular moment. Like Buzz talking about Footloose, Top Gun, you know, those type of things. Even Jaws, you know, when the shark was about to attack somebody, you get that classic music to that. And you don't really get that as much anymore. That's a good point. I hadn't really actually thought about that with today's current movies. Once in a while, yeah. But I don't think
not even just the songs. I mean, like, even the back, like you mentioned, like the Jaws thing. Like, I think about like Michael Myers and Halloween. Like, the music to that, it put fear in. Just to hear that song, there's no words to it, right? Because it's dead silent. But you hear that, you know, you're scared. You're watching the movie like, oh my god, like something's gonna happen. It's Michael Myers movie. Oh my god, you don't get that from like nothing is like. It's even hard to find a scary movie nowadays to watch.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about that with those type of things, and that's sports related, and Anthony knows about this because his dad and I think we could say we introduced him to that. You know, if you're a sports fan, if you're a football fan, if you ever listen to some of the NFL films soundtracks, and there's no words, it's just instrumental. But how they would apply it to the different scenes that you see, the football players making tackles or catches or throws or whatever, how that music was designed to sort of connect to those moments, boy, you couldn't help but get an adrenaline rush. and you just literally get caught up in it. I could get so jacked over the NFL soundtracks sometimes, and it just I get
You're
so
right.
movitate and so worked
You're
up,
right.
and that's just a
And
soundtrack.
even on not just even going, even like NFL primetime. Remember NFL Countdown?
Yeah.
The soundtrack, the background music to those where even get you going.
Yeah, I don't think there'll ever be a time that music's not impactful.
Absolutely.
Because it resonates with all of us in some different form or fashion.
Yeah.
But it'll always be there, and each of us will have our favorites. And if you don't like something that's current, at least you got something to fall back on that you know is going to make you smile.
Definitely, for sure. Well, folks, we've come to the end here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little bit of a different podcast from us today. Like I said, we should try to push away a little bit. We just talked a little bit about some sports, but we'll get back into it. Like I said, we kind of want to see how these playoffs are going to kind of pan out now, where everything's going to finish. For the NBA, I know, like I said, MLB is kind of kicking in, but there's still a few things. We want to get the season a little bit more into, kind of see how things are kind of panning out, because so far it's kind of in MLB, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, it's kind of going in the direction everybody's kind of already thinking it is. The main teams that are good right now. So we kind of want to hold off and see if there's any drastic changes, or maybe we're on the cusp here watching the Yankees-Dodgers World Series. Who knows, right? But that's kind of what we're in for. But things change, guys. It's baseball, right? Season's just in the kickoff. Brought up the Masters a little bit. We want to talk about, but Mike, let me see. What were we talking about? Rory took the lead today, right? Is that what you said on that?
I think he ended the day 3 up, so he's got a good shot.
So top 3 are Rory at 12 under, DeChambeau's at 10 under, and Connors is at 8 under. Should be a great finish to this tomorrow, folks. Tune in for sure. I'm going to actually try to watch this. I'm a big fan of Bryson DeChambeau, but I've also always been a fan of McIlroy too. So it's gonna be kind of nice watching those two kind of battle for this one. So I am gonna try to tune in tomorrow and see if I can catch some of this. I'm kind of hoping DeChambeau maybe pulls it out, but boy, when Rory's on, he's on. That's for sure. So, but definitely try to tune into this, guys. And we will talk a little bit about the Masters next week. Just kind of talk about how it kind of went around. Might kind of want to talk a little bit about some golf things too. But next week will be a little bit different. We're going to talk a little bit more about some championship. Kind of be more like a championship episode that kind of get into a few things. Might be a little bit of a LeBron Curry debate, possibly too. Who's kind of running the era? Is it really LeBron's era, or does Steph have a say in this? But for sure, we're going to get into this. But once again, appreciate you guys being here. We love you guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, hit that like button. It helps us a lot more than you guys think, for sure. But we wanted to bring you guys something a little bit different, kind of get away from what we normally do. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let us know if there's any other things that you guys enjoy. Let us know what other genres you guys like, what other artists you guys talk about. Do you prefer new school music to old school music nowadays? Please let us know in the chat and how you guys feel about it.
Yeah, and like Anthony's saying, folks, we enjoy stepping. We love sports, but Anthony and I, we're the first to tell you that. We love talking about anything and everything. Movies, TV, music, all those things. So if this is something you really enjoy, trust us, we're happy to do more of it. Because it is. Sometimes you get away from sports because you just kind of have to. You just need that change. It's a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So if you like it, let us know. We'll be happy to run with it and do more of it. So just let us know what you think. But as I always like to do, I'd be remiss if I didn't, and I feel really, really bad because this gentleman next to me, everything you see, you hear, you see, graphics, music, everything attached to each and every episode. This gentleman to my right or your left, however your view is set up, without his expertise. He's a computer savant. He makes all this happen. He makes everything go, and his contributions are off the charts. He's phenomenal at what he does, and without him, it doesn't happen. And I always like to acknowledge Mr. Anthony for everything he does with each episode.
I appreciate it for sure. We both try to put in, guys. We both put in time all week long. We're always talking with each other about certain things to come on. But like you said, it's usually sports related, but sometimes we just need to take a step back because, like we told you guys, and you guys have noticed now from the new podcast, the new way we stand on things is just that we're not as happy with the way the new school is of sports or anything as of right now, and it just kind of puts a new perspective in for people to understand what the real difference is. And now we're not saying that we completely hate everything new school. There are going to be some things for sure that we get into that we prefer in new school wise over old school. It's just we want to give a perspective on both ends so people don't. We just don't want people to forget about the days where the good old days, right? That's the way we put it, right? We don't want you guys to forget about the good old days. And not saying that these times right now aren't good, for sure, because I'm not going to sit there and say that, but there were times that were just as good, if not better, at certain points.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just basketball and football and baseball, folks. I mean, we have thoughts about golf. I mean, boxing. I mean, Anthony and I have thoughts about a lot of old school, new school stuff. So don't think that we just focus just solely on those three, and even sometimes hockey too. Those four major sports groups. We just have perspectives on all sports really, but you can't have the present without acknowledging the past. So
For sure.
just always keep that in mind.
For sure. Well, once again, folks, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you. Go enjoy the rest of the night. Enjoy your Saturday. Have a great Sunday, and stay safe out there, folks.
Have a good weekend, folks.
Oh.